This is Part B of Lesson 1. In this section, we'll review the dialogue in Part A. We'll have the opportunity to review each phrase of the dialogue and practice our pronunciation. Let's begin with a recap from Part A. Aslan sees someone. He introduces himself and asks the other person his name. Sasitsar Aslanch. Sitwawiyitsar. The other person, Janti, responds with his name and asks Aslan how he's doing. Sasitsar Janti. Tawashit. Aslan answers that he is doing well and then compliments Janti on how well he speaks in the Adiga language. Sekharzinish. Adighebza fididdu wibsatla. Janti thanks Aslan and informs him that he is still learning or studying Adighebza. Wupso. Yejidi zizaqasha. Upon hearing that Janti is still learning, Aslan asks why they don't study together. Janti answers, yes, of course, and says that would be great. Let's say you want to introduce yourself by announcing your name. If your name were Aslan, what would you say? Sasitsar Aslanch. What would you then say to ask someone his or her name? Sitwawiyitsar. Sitwawiyitsar. If someone wanted to know how you are doing, he or she might ask you, Tawashit. How would you tell someone that you are doing well? Sekharzinish. Sekharzinish. If someone were to compliment you on how well you speak Adighebza, he or she might say, Adighebza fididdu wibsatla. Which part of that response means you speak? Wupsasha. What would you say if you wanted to compliment someone on how well he or she spoke Adighebza? Adighebza fididdu wupsasha. Adighebza fididdu wupsasha. And how would you say thank you? Wupso. Wupso. If you wanted to tell someone that you were still learning, you would say, Yejidi zizaqasha. Which part of that phrase means, I am still learning? Zizaqasha. Zizaqasha. Since you're still learning, you might want to study with someone. To ask someone, why don't we study together, you would say, how would you say that again? What word in that phrase means together? Zawasu. Do you remember the phrase that means would be? It goes like this. Khonupara. Now you try. Khonupara. How would you ask someone if it would be okay if you studied together? Zawasu zergasha khonupara. Zawasu zergasha khonupara. And if the other person you were asking wanted to say yes, how would he or she say that in Adighebza? انت انت. That would be great. أعرف الدد خنط. Now you give it a try. أعرف الدد خنط. أعرف الدد خنط. Now let's shift gears a bit. Let's say you happen to meet a fellow Adiga named Aslan. He'd introduce himself by telling you his name and then asking yours. Sasitsar Aslanch, Sitwobiyitsar. How would you tell him your name? Pretend your name is Janti. Sasitsar Janti. Which word in that phrase means the word name in Adighebza? Tsar. Now that you've introduced yourself, you want to ask how the other person is doing. How would you do that? Tawashit. Tawashit. The other person responds by telling you that he is doing fine and complimenting you on your ability to speak in the Adiga language. Listen and repeat. Sekharzinesh. Adighebza chefediddu wapsatha. Which part of that phrase means, I am doing well? Sekharzinesh. Sekharzinesh. And which part means you speak? Wapsasha. Wapsasha. You want to thank Aslan and tell him that you are still learning Adighebza. Listen and repeat how you do that. Wapso. Yejidi zizorasha. Wapso. Yejidi zizorasha. Which part of that phrase means, I am still learning? Yejidi zizorasha. Aslan now asks, why don't we study together? Listen and repeat. Zawasu zadrasha khunupara. Zawasu zadrasha khunupara. Answer Aslan by saying, yes, of course, that'd be great. انت عارف الدد خنط. انت عارف الدد خنط. In those last two phrases, we used two different but related words. We said khunu and we said khunut. The word khunu means will be. It signifies that something is definitely expected to take place in the future. You can think of the word khunut as meaning would be. It signifies that something might be taking place in the distant future or someday. Let's practice. Listen and repeat. Will be. Khunu. Khunu. Would be. Listen and repeat. Khunut. Khunut. This concludes Part B of Lesson 1. Please move on to Lesson 2 for more practice.